All right, so we found this blog post,
What?
and it's called Setting Goals and Planning, What Works for Me and Might Just Work for You Too.
Okay.
And it's from this blog called Bold Beginnings by Sim.
Hmm.
I really like Sim's energy in this post.
Yeah.
It seems like they've really tried like all the different systems
Hmm.
for goal setting and planning
Yeah.
and finally like landed on something that actually worked.
And what I think is interesting is that Sim actually found this whole quarterly planning thing
Yeah.
through
Through what?
TikTok,
Oh, wow.
of all places.
You never know where you're
Right.
going to find inspiration.
Yeah.
So what really stood out to me in this post was how Sim like frames the whole process of goal setting,
Yeah.
It's not about, you know, like strict New Year's resolutions. It's more about like embracing change and making a plan that works with your life.
Absolutely.
So in this deep dive,
Yeah.
we're going to unpack the highlights of Sim's method.
Yeah.
We're going to get some expert context.
And see if this system is something that our listeners would like to try.
To really understand if this system is going to work for you, though,
Yeah.
it helps to know where Sim is coming from.
Okay, so to set the stage,
Yeah.
Sim's got some pretty big life changes coming up in July 2024,
Okay.
which they see as like the start of their personal third quarter.
Okay.
So that kind of like kicked off this whole planning thing,
I see.
this whole goal-setting frenzy.
This is really helpful to know, actually.
Yeah.
So much of the goal-setting advice that you see out there is like super generic.
Mm-hmm.
It's not tailored to anyone.
Right?
So knowing why the author is doing this helps us decide if it's relevant to us.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So I want you to think about your own situation for a second.
Okay.
Are you like Sim on the verge of some big transition, or are you just feeling a little stuck?
Mm.
I think that context will help make Sim's approach resonate more or less.
Totally.
Okay.
Once Sim had that sort of aha moment.
That they needed to set some goals.
Yeah.
They dove into this thing called quarterly planning,
Yeah.
which is actually a lot simpler than it sounds.
Yeah.
It's basically 3 steps.
Okay.
Reflect, dream big,
Mm-hmm.
and then work backwards.
It really is classic goal-setting theory.
Yeah,
But the way that Sim explains it just makes it a lot less intimidating.
totally.
You know, for a lot of people, the thought of planning an entire year can be really overwhelming.
Yeah,
But if you break it down into these smaller chunks,
yeah.
like these quarterly goals,
Right.
it can feel a lot less daunting.
Exactly. It's
What
like
did you say?
bite-sized motivation.
Yeah,
And Sim emphasizes that these goals shouldn't be set in stone.
right.
They will evolve.
It's not about being perfect.
Yeah,
It's about progress.
right.
I think that takes a lot of pressure off.
Totally.
Yeah.
So we have these quarterly goals,
Mm-hmm.
but how do we actually like do the things,
How do we execute?
Right. So
Yeah.
Sim lays out this really cool system. They call it like a cascading structure. So you start with these big monthly missions.
Okay.
Think of them as like epic quests
Okay.
for each month.
I love that analogy. Monthly missions
Yeah.
makes it a lot more fun than just like a chore.
Right.
What are you going to conquer this month?
Exactly. And then you break those missions down
Oh,
into weekly game plans. Like you're strategizing for the week ahead. And then finally you have your daily tasks.
Okay.
Sim even includes coffee as a
Of
task.
course. Because, well,
Gotta have that.
it's fuel, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing that really resonated with me.
Okay.
Sim's emphasis on forgetting perfection,
Okay.
they say that instead of trying to do everything perfectly,
Yeah.
just pick one goal to absolutely nail.
Okay.
And then those positive habits will follow naturally.
That's a really good point. And it actually aligns with a lot of research on habit formation.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when we focus on just one specific goal.
It's easier to create a routine around it. And
Ah.
consistency is key for building habits.
Yeah.
Those small wins build momentum and confidence, which then make bigger goals feel less daunting.
It's so true.
Right.
Like when you get that sense of accomplishment from crushing one goal,
Yeah.
it just motivates you to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So think about a goal that you've struggled with in the past.
Yeah.
How could focusing on just one aspect of it change your approach?
Yeah.
I think it's a really powerful mindset shift.
It is. And, this idea of focusing on one goal to build momentum reminds me of something
Okay.
I read in Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard of that?
Sim mentioned that book too.
Okay.
They called it like the ninja level guide to habit building.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do a deep dive on that sometime.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
But for now, let's stick with Sim
Okay.
and their awesome approach to quarterly planning.
Sounds good. #TTS. The Deep Dive episode 2025-01-12, Part 2. You know Sim's recommendation to check out Atomic Habits?
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
That book really dives into like the science behind how habits actually work.
But
Clear lays out this framework.
yeah.
He calls it the 4 laws of behavior change.
Okay.
And it's all about making good habits obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying.
Okay.
But at the same time, making bad habits invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying.
So it's like a recipe for like hacking your brain to build good habits.
Pretty much.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, how do these 4 laws actually work in practice?
Sure. Yeah. So let's say like you want to start meditating every morning.
Okay.
So the first law, make it obvious,
Mm-hmm.
suggests that you need like a really clear cue.
Okay.
So instead of like hiding your meditation cushion in a closet,
Yeah.
you put it right in the middle of the living room floor.
Okay.
Like you can't miss it.
Oh, so you can't ignore it.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. But like,
Yeah.
what if meditation just doesn't sound appealing to you?
Right? So that's where the second law comes in.
Okay.
Make it attractive.
Mm-hmm.
So you could try pairing meditation with something that you already enjoy.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, you love that first cup of coffee in the morning.
Right.
Well, make a rule, no coffee until you've meditated for 5 minutes.
So you link the habit you want
Yeah.
with something you already do.
Exactly.
Okay, that's pretty smart.
It's like you're tricking your brain
Yeah.
into looking forward to meditating.
So we've made it obvious, we've made it attractive,
Yeah.
but what if it's still like too hard to get started?
Right. Well, the third law, make it easy,
Okay.
is all about reducing that friction.
Okay.
So in this example, lay out your clothes the night before,
Mm-hmm.
choose a guided meditation app that's ready to go.
Okay.
Eliminate any obstacle.
So just make it as easy as possible.
Exactly. Just do the thing.
To just do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last law,
Yeah.
how do we make this habit satisfying?
Yes, this is all about rewarding yourself. It doesn't have to be anything crazy.
Right.
Maybe after meditating, you check it off on like a habit tracker,
Okay.
giving yourself like a visual representation
Visual representation.
of your progress.
Okay.
Or just take a moment to like appreciate how calm and focused you feel.
Hmm.
The key is to create a positive association with the habit.
So you're basically giving your brain like a little dopamine hit
Exactly.
that says, hey, this was good, let's do it again.
That's the idea. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So by following these 4 laws,
Yeah.
you're not relying on willpower alone.
Mm-hmm.
You're strategically designing your environment
Yeah.
and your behaviors to support your goals.
I love that. So
Yeah.
it's like less about self-discipline
Mhm.
and more about smart design.
Exactly.
I love that.
And speaking of design,
Yeah.
Clear also talks about this really cool strategy called habit stacking.
Habit stacking. Okay. Tell me more.
So you identify an existing habit you already do regularly,
Okay.
consistently, and you stack a new habit on top of it.
Okay.
So like you brush your teeth every morning without fail, right?
Of course.
You could do 30 seconds of squats
Okay.
right after you brush your teeth.
So you're basically like taking advantage of that routine that's already there.
You're piggybacking on those existing neural pathways.
Oh, so smart.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And Atomic Habits is full of practical tips like this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's a treasure trove of actionable advice.
Awesome.
Clear talks about tracking your progress,
Mm-hmm.
finding an accountability partner,
Okay.
even designing your environment to like minimize temptations.
Right.
He really covers everything.
So he's basically taken this complex subject
Yeah.
of habit formation
Yeah.
and made it like super accessible,
Exactly.
which is great.
Yeah.
And, you know, while Atomic Habits delves into like the nitty gritty, Sim's blog post offers like this relatable,
Yeah.
real world perspective on
Yeah.
goal setting. They both emphasize this idea of progress over perfection.
Absolutely.
Right.
Sim provides like that voice,
Yeah.
that encouragement to just get started.
Yeah.
And Clear provides the research.
The scientific framework.
Exactly.
So they really complement each other.
They
And together they give you this pretty powerful toolkit
yeah,
for making positive changes.
I think so.
I'm feeling super motivated now,
Okay.
hearing all this talk about habits and goals. Yeah. But, you know, it's important to acknowledge that change isn't always easy.
Right.
Like, what you say to people
Yeah.
who hit a roadblock
Yeah.
or just feel discouraged.
Well, I think it comes back to what Sim and Clear both emphasize.
Okay.
Focus on the progress, not the perfection.
Right.
Celebrate those small wins.
Mm-hmm.
And remember that every step forward, no matter how tiny it is,
Yeah.
is a victory.
It's all about like playing the long game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Build those positive habits one step at a time.
So far, we've talked a lot about the how of goal setting
Yeah.
and habit building.
Mhm.
But what about the why?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Why are we so drawn to these ideas
Yeah.
of self-improvement
Hmm.
and reaching our full potential?
What is that deeper motivation?
Right. Hashtag TTS, The Deep Dive, episode 2025-0112, part 3 of 3. That's a really good question. I think there's something about wanting to grow and learn
Mm-hmm.
and like become the best versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just like in our DNA or something.
I think that's a fascinating thought.
Yeah.
I definitely think that there's something in us that wants to strive for more,
Yeah.
to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
I think in a world that often feels really chaotic and unpredictable,
Mm-hmm.
setting goals and building these positive habits
Mm-hmm.
gives us a sense of agency, like we have some control over our lives.
Instead of just letting life happen to us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're taking control and like creating our own path
Yeah.
and finding our purpose.
And that purpose can be really powerful. Like when we set these goals that are aligned with like our values, our passions, the things
Yeah.
we really care about.
Mhm.
It's like we tap into this wellspring of intrinsic motivation.
It's not about chasing external rewards anymore
Right.
or seeking validation from other people.
It's about like the joy
Yeah,
of going after something
Yeah.
that really matters to us.
absolutely. And that joy can be contagious.
Oh,
When
yeah.
you're really excited about your goals,
Yeah.
it shows
Absolutely.
and it inspires other people.
It creates like a ripple effect
It
of
does.
positivity.
It's like this virtuous cycle.
Totally.
Our enthusiasm fuels our actions.
Yeah.
Our actions lead to progress,
Mm-hmm.
and then that progress fuels our motivation to keep going.
It's awesome.
And even when we face setbacks,
Because we all do.
we all do,
Yeah.
that sense of purpose helps us keep going.
It's like that North Star.
It is.
Yeah.
You know, it helps us learn from our mistakes
Yeah.
and come back even stronger.
Like Sim said, it's all about progress,
Oh.
not perfection.
Exactly.
You know, sometimes those mess ups,
Yeah.
they're the best learning experiences.
They can be, yeah.
Yeah.
It's in those moments of challenge
Yeah.
that we really see how resilient we are
Mm.
and how much we can grow.
It's like that's what self-improvement is really all about.
I think so.
Embracing all of it.
Yeah, the ups and the downs,
The good and the bad.
the wins and the losses.
Yeah.
And just constantly learning and growing
Yeah.
along the way.
So it's not about like reaching some final destination of
Right.
perfect.
It's about the journey.
It's about enjoying the journey
Exactly.
and just becoming like the best version of ourselves
Yeah.
one step at a time.
One step at a time.
That's pretty amazing.
I think that's a great point to leave our listener on.
Yeah.
Embrace the journey, celebrate the progress,
Yeah.
and never stop trying to be the best version of yourself.
And remember, you don't have to do it alone.
You don't.
We'd love to hear about your goals,
We would.
your challenges, your
Yeah.
victories.
Big or small?
Yeah, connect with us on social media. We're trying to build this awesome community of goal getters,
Let's do it.
cheering each other on,
Yeah.
inspiring each other
Yeah.
to do amazing things.
Until next time,
Keep diving deep,
keep learning.
keep striving for those
Bold beginnings.
bold beginnings.